Welcome to a new edition of the Boundary Breakers Collective. I am here with Ani Papazyan. She is a pain resolution practitioner, a best-selling author, and a speaker with 30 years of experience. Holding a bachelor's in kinesiology and certifications in medical massage therapy, functional nutrition, and nutrigenomics, she founded Last Stop for Pain to help clients achieve pain-free living through personalized care. Anne has worked with professional athletes and Hollywood elites, including Janet Jackson, to aid recovery and reduce stress. Overcoming immense challenges from moving to the US without speaking English to building a thriving career, Annie embodies resilience and the power of breaking boundaries. And that is exactly why she's here. Welcome, Annie. I am so super stoked to have you here. How are you doing?
Hello, Helena. Thanks so much for having me here. Hello, everyone, all the listeners and audience. I'm fantastic, even though being at 6 a.m., but I'm doing great.
We were already saying the hours that we are basically organizing our lives are determining for what we are doing, how we deal with our energy levels, how we are basically thriving. So, for some of us, it is possible to really choose these moments. For
Mhm.
others, because of the phase of their life they're in or whatever other situation they're in, it is a little bit more difficult. But I personally also love these early morning hours, no phones, no emails, nothing pinging, nothing making noise. So I am in a different situation right now because I'm in Europe while you are in the US, and I am here with heavy machines doing construction work. I try to exclude them from my attention, and that is sometimes difficult. This is for me a very good practice in resilience building for noise. Yeah. Anyway, the first question I always ask on this Boundary Breakers collective talk shows to just not break that routine is Annie, why do you consider yourself a boundary breaker?
I'm going to start with my personal life because
Mm-hmm.
I've always been considered the black sheep of my family because I've always done things that I wanted to do my way, going against the expectations of my family and the culture. Starting from the college I went to, the career I picked, the husband I picked. So I've always
Mm-hmm.
been the rebel. But in
Yeah.
my professional life, it's also been what I felt that my passion was, instead of thinking if I do this, probably will bring me more money. But that wasn't where my passion was.
Mm-hmm.
So just sticking to what I felt the right thing to do and just doing it and not following what the society's expectation was or what was the norm.
Yeah. I love that concept, doing what you feel is the right thing to do. How do you define that? How do you know what is the right thing to do?
I'm a huge believer in you follow your gut feeling. So I just always, and it's honestly, it had never steered me wrong following my
Mm-hmm.
gut feeling. I have to say, not always the choices I made has worked out or been the right choices, but they were my choices. I can't go to point my finger at someone else and say, I did this because you said was the right thing to do and it didn't work out. Like it was my choice, it didn't work out. You learn from it and you move on.
Mm-hmm.
So I always
Mm-hmm.
follow my gut feeling.
Yeah. I love that way of looking at things. I was reading recently that we always have choices, and sometimes it's very difficult to define what we really should choose or what we really want to choose or need to choose. And in that reading, I don't remember the author, but it was said that whatever choice we make the one that makes you feel enthusiastic and passionate. Even if it's not the perfect choice, it will be opening a path that you will be learning from. There will be a lot of opportunities and possibilities and learnings. Well, they took it very strongly in terms of Actually, you never should be worried about taking the wrong paths because every path has possibilities, potential, and learnings. And so choose the one that makes you feel good. Yeah. But a lot of
Exactly.
people are not really ready to make choices based on this gut feeling and on this inner wisdom. We make a lot of choices based on what society is prescribing or what is expected from us.
Or based of
Um,
fear. Would it
and
be
based on
the
fear.
fear of
Yeah.
failure or fear of it's new, it's
Judgment.
never been done, just based off fear?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Now, tell us a little bit more because your story is very interesting. Tell us a little bit more about how you got to the US, how you built your life there, how you became such a renowned practitioner and therapist for Hollywood elite and other people that are very peculiar about who they choose and who they work with. How did that go? Can you give us like a short version of that
Yes,
movie?
especially your audience, since they're very international, I'm sure some of them will relate to my story of moving to different country and trying to learn the language. It's
Mm-hmm.
like given you move to different country, it's completely different language, different culture. Mine was like day and night, even though, yes, I spoke few languages, but English was not one of the languages that I studied back home. I'm from Armenia, born and raised. And we moved not because it was an easy choice. We moved because of after the huge earthquake, when we lost our home, we lived in our garage, and then my dad wanted for me and my sister who have better choices in life.
Mm,
So is okay, we're gonna move to America. So coming here right after college, a month later, I turned 22 and I had to start learning English, learning completely new culture, which was very different from the culture, Armenian culture that I grew up with, especially coming to Los Angeles, which is people are a little more different than from like United States. People think, oh, we're California, especially with Los Angeles people are a little weird, even though I love them. But, and then because I started, my foundation was bachelor's in kinesiology, medical massage, which I learned in college, continuing that, you know how the saying of being in the right place at the right time? That
mhm,
was for me. I was working, I just started my massage therapy career. I was working at the chiropractic office, and one of the doctor's patients was a dancer. I thought she was just a regular dancer. She turned out to be Janet Jackson's choreographer and a very good friend of hers. So
mhm,
she referred her to me. And so I started seeing her. And then all of a sudden, I get a phone call. Hey, do you want to go on a tour with her? And me growing up traveling, because I played volleyball for Armenian national team for 5 years. So I've traveled through, at the time, Soviet Union. I love to travel. I was like, I'm packing my bags. Yes. And then somehow I was just fortunate enough to just word of mouth getting clients that some were like very famous. Some your audience would know like Guillermo del Toro, who is very famous uh, director, just made so many amazing movies, or my client who lives in Paris, but I see him when he comes to Los Angeles doing movies. Alexandre Desplat, he's a famous composer. His mom is Greek. Actually, his dad was French. So he lives in Paris. But I just consider myself, yes, my work, type of work I do is the quality, and also me being type of person like I don't strive to only work for Hollywood elite.
mhm,
Doesn't matter who you are, as long as you're a nice person, you treat me with respect, don't treat me like I'm your servant, which some Hollywood
mhm.
elite will do. But I've been fortunate enough to get these clients that are just amazing people. They treat me with out of respect, and they love the type of work I do, and I'm very grateful for that.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, in your younger years, you were already traveling because you were member of the
The
national
national volleyball team,
competition
yeah, I was since I
volleyball
was like
team.
middle school.
Yeah,
traveling.
yeah. And then with Janet Jackson and with other people on tour, you were also traveling. How do you see? A lot of people tell me that travel made them develop as a person and also as a leader a lot faster. What is your opinion about that, and how has this impacted your growth as a leader?
I think absolutely, because even though, yes, from younger years, you're traveling with the team, there's someone in control, but as an individual, you develop that independence because you still have to be, there's two coaches in control of 10 or 12 females in a team. They cannot be
Mm-hmm.
on top of us every single minute, even though a couple of our coaches tried. But it's within you. If you want to do something, you're going to do anywhere, you know. So developing that independence that, okay, I'm in charge of my own actions. And especially as we become adult, it's the curiosity. It's also, for me, the most fun in traveling is meeting new people. And as you travel, you meet different type of personalities and being able to deal with those personalities. And I think that's what contributes to being a leader, because the people you work with, they all have different personalities, and you should be
Mm-hmm.
able to deal with them, to work with them. Just because we don't agree on your views of life, your views of, let's say, politics or religion, or it doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't mean we cannot work together.
Mm-hmm.
We just
Exactly.
agree to disagree and we move forward because we have a mutual goal to achieve. And we highlight that goal. And I think that's what makes a good leader,
Mhm.
is
Yeah,
being able to separate that.
yeah, absolutely. And you just mentioned curiosity. And I believe that curiosity also, if you want to develop a life and build a life by design, by choice, that curiosity is a very good quality. And if you combine that with travel, where you see, where you understand that life as it is not the only way of life. When you travel, you see so many different cultures and so many different ways of how you can organize a life. And once you understand that the way it is organized for you most of the time, and it can be different, it also opens opportunities. It's opening your eyes to start
Mhm.
with. Okay, this is not the only way to live. There are a lot of different modalities and ways to live. And actually, I can choose. I don't have to live the life that was organized for me or that I just stepped in because I didn't really think of it, because it was like a normal way of following a path. There's so many other options. I believe that travel opens combined with your I believe that travel combined with curiosity opens the eyes and the mind and the heart
Oh,
to step
absolutely.
into something else.
And that's one of the reasons also I love to travel by myself, like alone, which
Mm-hmm.
a lot of, especially females, they're afraid, especially to travel international by themselves. I love it because that's the
Mm.
only way for me is, and I'm very outgoing person, like easy to talk to. If I'm like talking or sitting at the restaurant, or if I'm on a train in Europe somewhere, I'm going to start talking to people around me and ask
Mm.
them to give me like a name of a restaurant that, because I don't like doing touristy stuff. I want to hang out with locals. I want to do local things. But that way I get to learn more, to see more.
Again.
And like you said, the curiosity is, but that allows me to have wonderful experiences and meet people from around the world, that some I still have contacts with in my travels, or see places that I would have never even known if
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Yeah,
talk to that person,
exactly. Yeah,
you know.
beautiful. So, what do you feel are like the three main boundaries that you have been breaking in your life, in the course of your life, that really also have changed the course of your life or the direction? What would be like the three most important ones?
The career I chose, definitely, because that was a
Mm-hmm.
major no in our family, because I grew up a family of engineers. Both my parents were engineers, And me being the
Uh-huh.
first child, first daughter, they thought I was going to follow their path. I'm like, yeah, that's never going to happen. Picking the career I picked, marrying the men that I married, that was another
Mm-hmm.
big one because in Armenian cultures, you always stick with your own, especially my generation. And me dating and marrying a Black American was a major no-no, even though I knew that wasn't going to work out and it didn't work out. But that opened up for me to see his family where they lived, that from tiny little East Coast town that I would have never visited or learned their culture, which was amazing. And I
Mm-hmm.
still love his family. And the third one, I would say, focusing in my business, again, picking to a very small niche and focusing on that,
Mm-hmm.
just pain relief. That's it. If you do not have pain, I will not take you as a client.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very
Yeah.
specific, yeah. So I would say those three, and I'm still growing. There's so much for
Yeah.
me to learn, so I love it.
I can only imagine. So let's go back to this career choice because I know that this is something that a lot of us can relate with. A lot of us at least start the studies that are like expected from them because of the career of the parents, because of the perceived intellectual level of the person, things like that. I wanted to become a farmer until I was 16. If you ask me what do you want to become when you are an adult, I said I want to be a farmer. Everybody was laughing because that was like, what are you thinking? It took me 40 years to re-implement that dream in my life,
Hmm.
which is right now. But I see a lot of people that study and take on a career because they then did the studies and they feel like this kind of loyalty to proceed with that track based on what parents are expecting or what their school teachers are expecting or saying or what their friends are doing. So how was it for you and what lessons did you learn and could you share for women that are also in that situation? I would say for younger women, but also for women that have children that are in that situation. And as parents, we also tend to do this with the best intentions. No, don't do this, try that. It's more guaranteed, more security, things like that. What would be your advice to deal with that situation?
I know that's such a tough one. Me not being a parent, I'm not a parent, but I'm a very involved, a very cool auntie. And I have a nephew who's 20 years old and a niece who's 15. And just
Yeah.
seeing them, how different they are and their approaches to, okay, what career paths to choose. And me looking from outside, sometimes you see things that when people are within, it's hard for them to see because they're too close. But
Hmm.
me seeing, like, my sister is very corporate, 9 to 5 job. In her head, security, which we
Yeah.
both know these days there is no security. Doesn't matter where you are. But for her, that's a security. And so it's so interesting for me to see how she veers the children the paths to choose. Even
Mm-hmm.
though, yes, my nephew is very much, and he's brilliant. He would be a CPA, and I think he will be very good. But that's the path. Working for corporate world will be most likely. But my niece is very much like me. She's auntie. As soon as I finish high school, I'm moving out of house. I'm leaving. She goes, I don't know yet what I'm gonna do, but whatever I do, I'm gonna choose it.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it would be for parents. I love the parents because I see some of my friends that open their children up to different choices, give them opportunities of seeing
Mm-hmm.
different paths so they know what exists. And that way they can choose instead of just saying, no, this is the way to go. And then the kid has no idea what else is out there. And then maybe down the
Mm-hmm.
line in their life, after being in that same job that they maybe don't care about 10, 20 years, but they're getting to the life and see that, oh my God, there is all these other choices that I didn't know about. And that's why so many people end up changing careers. In America, I think there was a study done in their working lifespan, a person will pick 7 different careers, which
Yeah.
is, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine doing anything else that I do just because I love
Yeah.
it so much.
Yeah. Mm, yeah.
So
I
just give the
understand.
opportunities, just open yourself up to see what else is out there.
Hmm.
And maybe try a few things, see what
Yeah.
works, what your passion lies. And
Mm,
sometimes people are driven by money. Okay, what more money this career brings. And one time I was watching Warren Buffett. He was speaking at I think at the Harvard University, and I don't remember where. And one of the things he said, which I'm sure we've heard it all the time, he said, pick a career that you would do even if you didn't get paid for.
mm,
But how many people, and I know that's not what they chose.
exactly. Exactly. And once again, because of this security, because of this money-driven focus and relationship that people build with careers, with what they do professionally, that's also why so many people are in what we call the golden cage. They're absolutely not happy where they are, and they don't want to go because they are afraid to lose all the benefits, because they are afraid to start over again, because they are afraid that they might not be able to deal with another corporate culture, even if the one that they are in makes them completely unhappy or stressed. They just
Oh,
stay. It's amazing to see how many people stay in a situation. It can be in a job, it can be in a marriage, it can be in whatever situation, even if it is painful, if it hurts, just because they know it. And so they prefer the pain for they just don't want to change. They don't want to go into this unknown because they don't trust that they are capable to manage the new situation. And
yes,
sometimes
or
I'm
they
like,
pick things that they learn how to deal with. One of the, I don't know if you're familiar who Jim Rohn is. He passed on in 2009, but sometimes on YouTube I go and I pull up some of his talks, live presentations he did in 1970s. And he came from a farmer family.
mhm,
His dad was a farmer. He was a farmer boy, but he grew up, he actually got, anyway, one of the things he says that I absolutely love, and I think it's a great thing for people to keep in mind is don't wish for things to be easy. Wish for
mhm,
you to have skills to deal with difficult things. And if you stop
yeah,
to think that's such a powerful statement, is we always wish, oh my God, no, it's hard. And we all, I've said it too. I'm like, oh, it's too hard to do. Learning a new technology, learning a new thing, it's too hard, especially now where you're in Spain, I'm here. We had to learn the technology to overcome it. But once you learn it, then it becomes really easy. But that always, I keep that saying in the back of my head that don't wish for things to be easy. Wish for you to have the skills to deal with the hard things.
mhm, yeah, because they come in your life anyway. And we want to create an idea or a world where difficulties do not exist or where we avoid difficulties, and we can't. So even if we stay in this comfort zone where we feel that we are in control, things happen. Things happen. There's so many external things that we cannot control and that have an impact on our lives. So we cannot close ourselves for that. So I absolutely agree. It is about building the skills and the capacity and the resources. And also, I would say the allies, the community of support and the resilience to be open and to just embrace new things, even if you don't know them. And then again, like you say, to use that gut feeling to deal with it and to make the choices and the decision. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
love
think that
that you said the comfort zone. because we like to stay in our comfort zone, but we all know as entrepreneurs, you only grow when you're outside of that comfort zone.
Yeah,
That's the only way
exactly.
to grow. And yes, sometimes it's scary for us to go out of that comfort zone. Or the book From Good to Great. I don't know if you ever,
Yeah,
I
Jim
love
Collins.
that book
Yeah.
because also is they say, and I can't remember the exact saying where they say you achieve big things, like you can achieve some by yourself, but you can go even further when you have a team.
Hmm.
And as entrepreneurs, we always think, oh no, I have to do this on my own, or I can do this better because no one else can do this. And we
Yeah.
hold ourselves down. And I'm right there with everyone else. I saw bringing in a virtual assistant. Yeah, but what if they mess up and then I can just do this on my own? Or
Mm,
we go through this back and forth. And
exactly.
yeah, it's just
Mm,
it takes time and sometimes going over the fears. And as you said, it's great to have the surround yourself with people. I always say, and I've always said this for the relationship with some of my friends, doesn't matter what relationship you are, if they're not enhancing you with mentally, relationship would be like physically and like spiritually, they're not making you better, then you shouldn't be in that
mhm,
relationship. And I think in
mm,
business too, if you're not helping someone else or there's someone better than you that you
mhm.
can strive to be, or they can pull you up, then there is no way you're going to grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about relationships, let's go to your second big moment of boundary breaking, your choice for the partner. Because there again, there's so many things that are prescripted, like what we do, who we choose, what's the age difference that it should be, intercultural, interreligion. There's so many, again, rules and regulations that apparently you said, not for me. I can say I have said that also. And it's you say, it doesn't always work out perfectly, but it's not a guarantee that it will or will not. There's never guarantees in relationships. But what's your view on choosing a partner or leaving a partner? Although there's so many judgment and so many opinions on how we should live that part of our lives.
Yeah, for me, like I said, the biggest thing was when I was traveling, when I did the first tour with Janet Jackson was 98, 99. And we went to South Africa. That was one of the places she did her concert. And even before, when I was a child with my family, when we went on vacation in Ukraine, we met some Black students that were from Ethiopia, but they were studying in Moscow. So they spoke Russian. And I just made friends with them. At the time, my parents, they were like, I was 13. They were like so proud. Oh my God, she's friends with Black people. Because in Armenia, at the time, you only see Armenians and Russians. That's
Yeah.
it. I never saw a Black person in my life until I was 13-year-old in Ukraine.
Mm,
And I just, something about them I just loved. And then when we went to South Africa with Janet, I sent a picture of this beautiful little kid from Zulu tribe where she was wearing all these gorgeous, colorful beaded skirt. And I sent it to my parents. I said, this is going to be your grandchild. And they're like, oh my God, that's so cute. Until I came back and few months later, I met my ex-husband who was African. He was Black from Virginia, like a country boy. And so he was Black. We started dating. And then when we became serious, my parents, they're like, my dad said, over my dead body, because we're Armenians. Turks in Armenian genocide, they tried to kill us. And the reason we survived so long because we stick with each other. And the argument with parents usually is we gotta preserve the culture. You gotta preserve the cultural or the familiarity in a family of
mm,
what's expected in a culture. So me
Mm,
being a rebel, of course, I had to marry him because everyone said, no, that's not going to happen. I married him, and 2 years later, it was like, okay, we're done. But in those 2 years, they fell in love with him. He's a nice guy, just not for me. I've
mhm.
been divorced for over 20 years. He still calls my mom every week.
Whoa.
Yeah, he ended up, he was a
He's
federal
still part of the
officer.
family somehow.
Oh, he is. My mom, well, my dad passed on, but they loved him. When
Mm,
he still lived here, my mom would say, oh, Glenn is coming over for dinner. Do you want to come over? I'm like, no, he's your son. But he still calls her every single week. It cracks me
mm,
up.
beautiful. That's a
Yeah.
beautiful story. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I can only imagine also for them what kind of boundaries they have been breaking for
Well,
themselves and being open and
what's so
adopting him.
interesting,
Yeah,
because they're old school, they're from old world. And
yeah.
one time my mom said this thing, and I was like, Mom, and I'm sure it wasn't intentional. It's just when she was still working, she said, we got a new manager and he's such a nice man, even though he's black. I'm like, you cannot say things like that. He goes, what? He's a very nice man. I really like him. But I'm
Mm,
like, the way you said it, and I don't know because my mom, yes, speaks English, but not that well. So I don't know if it was because of the English, her English, because I think still she translates things in her head from like
yeah.
Armenian and Russian, and then she brings
Mhm.
it up in English. When I used to do that years ago, when I was still learning English, I used to think in Armenian or in Russian and then say it, and the words would be just didn't make
Yeah,
sense,
you had
the
a
English
very
I said.
interesting
But
conversation.
it's that it cracked me up. I'm like, oh my God, you cannot say things like that. But
Yeah,
so yeah, sometimes it just things comes out unintentionally, or
mm,
it's just what you heard in your family and what you were expected say or
yeah,
do. But again, like
yeah,
my sister married an American and she has an amazing kids. Couple of actually my cousins' children married a non-Armenian and they have just absolutely amazing family. So after generations, like they're realizing that as long as you're happy, what works? It may not work for
mhm,
you, but it works for them. That's it. That's
mhm,
all it matters. It works for them.
yeah. It's a very third boundary breaking that you mentioned was to choose a very specific area of work or focus for your services. Why do you consider that as boundary breaking?
One of the things I remember at the time I had my business advisors who suggested it's like, Ani, you're leaving a lot of money on a table when you're not offering regular massages. You're losing a lot of money. I'm like, I don't care. That doesn't give me I don't like regular massages.
Hmm.
Doing regular massages is too boring.
Yeah.
I don't want
Mm.
to do it. I'm not going to do it. And what I want to be known is when you're in pain, I want you to think of me. That's
It's
it.
building your authority on a very specific
Very
power.
specific. And that's how it is. I have sometimes people drive 2 hours or even more to come and see me because and they don't even know what I do. They come to my office and they're like, okay, I have pain here. I don't even know what you do, but this person said, I need to come and see you, so I'm here. And
Yeah.
for me, that speaks volume that, oh my God, I made a difference in that person's life, that they're referring me this person. And they're here, they drove so much to see me, and they don't even know what I do. And they never even ask what I charge. That
Yeah.
for me, sometimes I go like that, you know?
Yeah,
And,
absolutely. Yeah,
but
absolutely. Now,
yeah,
a lot of us are afraid to make that kind of choice because if we feel that if we choose, we lose. And if we lose a part of a market, then maybe there will be an impact financially. I see that very often, especially with womenpreneurs, with female entrepreneurs. I want to serve everybody. I want to have everybody on my list. I can coach anybody and so basically what they do is they just hold themselves back of making a deliberate choice. What is my zone of genius? What is it that I'm really good at? And I'm just going to focus and build authority and credibility in that because they might lose other clients and then also, of course, lose money.
Oh, absolutely. And I see this all the time. The analogy I like to use is, let's say you're sick and you're going to go see a doctor. Do you want your doctor to be just a general practitioner? Or let's say you need a heart surgery and you want your surgeon to be specializing in heart, that he does heart surgeries every day, all day long for years.
Exactly.
That's the thing. We want that specialist who sees that thing every single day.
Yeah,
You don't want a
absolutely.
GP taking care of you, or that's
Hmm.
why there are specialists. And yes, and it takes some time to be known your specialty. Like I have some dentists sent me patients for TMJ issues, but they know that my first time I ran into the doctor, the dentist in my office building in an elevator. And I'm like, oh, I saw his thing said DDS. I'm like, oh, this is my opportunity. I said, doctor, I do TMJ releases. What do you send your TMJ patients? He goes, oh, I send them to get Botox injections. I'm like, do they work? He goes, temporary, but it's expensive. Every few months they have to go get it again. I said, why don't you send me one of your worst TMJ patients? First appointment, no charge. He sent it to me. We got amazing results from just one session. Now he sends me regular patients for
Yeah,
TMJ. Sometimes we have to just go the extra mile or even do something for free. But to
yeah,
create that authority that, okay, I'm going to, and especially for others to refer as patients. Like I would never refer my patients to someone else unless I know they're very good at what they do and they're going to take care of my patients the way I do.
yeah.
Because
Mm,
it's your name, it's your authority that, oh, you sent me someone that it was horrible. Their
yeah.
personality wasn't good or they didn't take care of me. Yes, specializing in something, it's scary at the beginning,
Hmm.
but you'll get so much more down the line. As you
Mm.
said, it's like the money, you can charge a lot more because you specialize in
Also,
something.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Process. It's a process. Being entrepreneur is not easy, but it's very
Hmm.
rewarding, I think. I
Yeah.
can't, like I said, I've never had a corporate job in my life because I
Mm.
make a horrible employee. I cannot be a good employee at all. But it's not always easy. It's not always
Mm.
fun, or it's not always, you got to put the work in.
Absolutely. Yeah. The thing is, who says it has to be easy? Who says it has to be fun all the time? It's about, is it rewarding? And I'm not talking about the money. Is what you're doing rewarding for yourself and also for the people that you serve or for the people that you work with. That's the most important thing. It has been for me as well, because if you say I probably would not make a good corporate employee, I'm laughing because I was working in corporate for 2 years and I understood very quickly that I probably was not a very good employee either because I was so full of ideas and projects I wanted to do. And then at that time, I was also very impatient and I was like ambitious and I ran into walls everywhere. And even though the things that I could do proved that I was capable of doing special things and think out of the box, still, for every project I had, I felt I had to fight. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this myself. And so I was 25 and I started my own business. And there were a lot of people also saying, what are you doing? You're 20. How are you going to do this? Where are you going to get your clients? You're not going to make money the first years. And I said, I don't care. We'll see. We'll see. It's stop projecting your fears on my choices because it's not relevant. That's
On the other side of that coin is sometimes people working in a corporate world or they watch entrepreneurs doing their own thing. They think it's so easy and then they leave and they think once they leave, they can do the same thing. And then come to find out like, okay, yeah, it's not that easy because if it was easy, everyone would do it. Not
mhm,
everyone is designed to be an entrepreneur. And
mhm,
we don't want everyone to be an entrepreneur because we need people to work for us, right?
mhm. Yeah, also. Absolutely. Yeah.
So it's
And
like we
yeah.
need people that want to work for someone else and do the things they're good at. But being an
Mhm,
entrepreneur, you have to do so many different things. I think it's Gary Vaynerchuk who, in your business, you should be good, be able to do every job that you hire people to do.
mhm. Exactly. Yeah.
But and then
Yeah.
you hire people that do certain things better than you, and
Yeah.
that's how you grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. My last question for you. What would be your next boundary to break? Is there any boundary that you say, this one I still want to break?
Oh my God, yes, 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 definitely.
Tell
I
me.
want to be able to have 100% of my business to be online so I can travel. Like I can come to Spain for 2 months
Yeah.
or 3 months out of the year, stay there as long as I have internet, still be able to work. That's one
Mm-hmm.
of like my biggest thing. As much as I love doing hands-on working with my patients one-on-one, but that's going to be my next biggest boundary to break is to be 100% online.
Why is it a
And that's
boundary?
scary
What makes it so difficult to do that?
because yes, right now I'm traveling. Still we're on a break, but I'm going back on a tour with Janet Jackson. Actually, she's doing the Las Vegas residency. So in a couple of weeks, I'll be heading to Vegas for almost a month. But still, when I come back, I still have my clinic. I still have my patients that I'm so grateful that they wait to see me. But the fear of, oh my God, when I lose that income, where am I going to get it? Because I still don't have that consistent income from online, from my speaking gigs. I'm not getting paid yet to do speaking gigs. Right now, it's mostly pay to play or my genetic testing and analysis, which is 100% online, but it doesn't have that consistency yet for me to
Mm-hmm.
say, okay, I'm just going to let go. Years ago,
Yeah.
I did let go. I used to do a lot more house calls, and it came a point I said, never again.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened. Sometimes they say you make decisions, it times to make decisions. But in actuality, and I don't remember who said that, you make the decision in that 1 second.
Yeah.
It just
Mm-hmm.
takes you longer to take actions for that decision.
Yeah.
So one day I
Mm-hmm.
had the biggest, like in one day, I made $2,000 in massage with the clients, private clients. And if you're a massage therapist, that's a lot. Yes, I charge a lot, but it's still,
Still. Mm-hmm.
I came out of the client's house at 10:30 at night. I was exhausted. I sat in my
Mm-hmm.
car and I said, Ani, don't cry. Don't cry.
Mm-hmm.
I left a message to my, at the time, business advisor. I said, I hate this job. I don't want to do this anymore. I don't care how much money I make. I'm done. No more house calls. And gradually, I started canceling house clients. And I think in 1 year, my income dropped about 25 to 30,000 in a year. And I didn't care because I just
Mm-hmm.
wasn't enjoying it anymore.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's very courageous, letting go of the money as in a trade-off for more time and more fulfillment.
Sanity.
That's a very courageous move. Yeah. But so you say when you go online 100%, that means that you cannot no longer treat your clients the way you treat them now, or you cannot treat them anymore at all.
When I put my like, okay, next 3 years, how I want my goals to look like, I still would love to do one-on-one, like patient, but maybe 1 or 2 or 3 a week. And if I choose to, and if they pay my price,
Hmm.
but not
Yeah,
the way like I'm doing. Sometimes I see 5, 6 patients a day. And
yeah,
yeah,
it's very
I
important.
just wanna, because comes a point where, okay, I need to grow. There is no staying stagnant. How you grow, either bringing in other practitioners, which when I had my clinic, I've done it. And I don't want to do that anymore, but because I just don't like that. And I'm 55. My passion is to travel and to speak and to teach. And I think
Hmm.
there has to be some type of trade off to grow. And the
Yeah.
growth I see is actually, I want to teach more. I want to teach huge audience of self-help techniques, or how to prevent pain prevention, self-help pain relief techniques. That
Hmm.
what I love. And yes, once in a while I may work on a patient because I just love it, but there has to be a trade-off for me to grow. And that's how I see it.
Yeah. Mm.
So
It's a beautiful plan, and I think it's also scaling the number of people that you can help, which is amazing. Yeah. I think we had a great overview of your track record in Boundary Breakers, and thank you so much for sharing those and for digging a little bit deeper so we could find the goals and the nuggets that are so inspirational and encouraging for everybody listening in or watching this talk show. So thank you so much for being here, for sharing everything. And I can't wait until you break your next boundary. And I hope to be kind of part of it, of at least to be at the sideline to see everything happening. Thank you so much.
thank you, Helena. It's so honored to be here.